Hey guys! I know it's been a long time since I uploaded actual content other than a video game stream. This video I put a lot of work into and was very emotional for me. This video will have discussions of heavy and dark topics such as childhood sexual abuse, so viewer discretion is advised. Growing up wasn't easy for me, and due to these events that I've gone through as a child, it caused me to see myself differently than most. I can't see myself as anything but ugly, a toy for others' enjoyment and pleasure to be it sadistic or non. A mixture of how I was called ugly by other kids growing up for years by my piece of shit father, and most importantly, said events that a child should never go through. I always saw myself as different than most my age. In a way, I was a lot like Lilo from Lilo and Stitch. I had no friends, and the kids who said they were my friends only kept me around to laugh at my antics I pulled because I have autism. I also had imaginary friends, and I brought plushies every day to school with me. That movie and the series itself was very special for me because the existence of a little girl with a broken family who was confused and lost her way in the world spoke to me. I was always the outcast of school, being bullied for not wearing what the other girls would wear my age, things being picked on in my appearance, like how short or abnormally thin I was. That could be a story time all its own. The events I went through as a child that made me see myself differently was childhood sexual abuse. Someone in my life sexually abused and touched me as a child, and it made me grow up confused with my body. What didn't help is when the police were brought into it, the family of the abuser shamed me for getting him in trouble. How dare I betray him that way? I was probably lying, they would say. Some therapists even said it was considered childhood exploration. So in my mind, at a very young age, I was taught that sexual abuse was my fault and normal, which is not okay at all or correct. A person, no matter their age, has no right to touch you in the places you don't wish to be. After the event, I went to live with my father, who was a highly abusive man. He treated me as though I were a chore to deal with and a thing. It made me grow up and wonder if something was just wrong with me. Especially because I was into things the boys like video games and Pokemon and sports, and it felt like I was embarrassing my father. But I also loved cute soft things like Little's Pet Shop toys and the old Strawberry Shortcake cartoon and stuffed animals. It was confusing for me, especially because my father was so bipolar with how he reacted to me in various situations that it was never stable on opinion of his to have. One minute I'm in his pride and joy, and the next I'm a mistake he should never have brought into the world. These events, my mix of interests, the way I was viewed my body, and I still struggle to with this day, gave me gender dysphoria. I grew up having to be forced to wear dresses when I didn't want to. My body was an object for the people who hurt me as a child, and I just felt out of place. Fast forward to when I'm 16 to 18 years old, I lived in foster care since I was 12. The older foster sister was a biological daughter of the foster parents, and because it was her house, I had to do what she wanted. And what she wanted to do was play Barbies, which I took no issue with. Sure, some people have their interests. I mean, hell, I was into My Little Pony. It was when she started making the Barbies have sex and talking sexually to me and becoming handsy that I started to have a problem. Especially with my prior sexual abuse as a young child. I would refuse to play Barbies with her from that day on, and even if I got punished for it, I'm still proud of myself for standing up to her and saying no. Around this time, I had gotten a haircut because it was too much for me to manage, and I started getting mistaken for a boy at work, despite how my voice was clearly not masculine. It confused me how I could be called a boy by so many people. I decided that I just didn't feel like a girl, and I didn't want to be a boy because I didn't have any masculine traits, and became agendered. I got into a sexually abusive romantic relationship from the years 19 to 21. I'm very grateful I got out of it. The man would sexualize my gender identity, and it made me very uncomfortable. I even went by being a girl just to please him because he said girls were hotter than gender neutral people. However, I went back to being they them after I gained my confidence in myself and felt pretty pleased for a year or two. However, for the past 6 months or so, something's just felt different with me. No matter what I did, how I got my hair done, what clothes I wear, or whatever I did, ever felt right. And then I saw Radpax's video on coming out as transgender, and all of the wires just clicked for me. Just because I liked effeminate and cute things didn't mean I was any less of a man. I've been male for a couple of weeks now, and I can safely say I feel a lot happier with myself as a person, and I feel content. So what if I'm not masculine? I can still be a man. I'm working on getting a binder currently, and I hope you all listening and if you're going through something similar, know you're not alone, and gender dysphoria is a very difficult thing to deal with, but people will support and love you still no matter what. Thank you all for listening, and like I always say, let's continue to inspire each other.